Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, or good afternoon to those of you in the States. Welcome back to yet another edition of Competitive Left 4 Dead right here on twitch.tv/Maverick_Warriors. I, of course, am Dragon. This is my first cast, finally, of the tournament. And I'm joined today by Hollywood. It's my first cast alongside him. Say hello, man.
Hello, I'm excited to be casting alongside with you, Dragon.
Indeed, yes. And tonight we have the final match of the group phase, the last. Been a while coming, but we finally got there, and it's going to be on Haunted Forest between teams Warriors of Heaven and Jaeger Bagels. Do you want to do the rundowns of the team?
I would be happy to, but I do appear to have crashed, so I'm going to make my way back into the game real quick.
Oh, no worries. I got you back there then. Okay, so for Warriors of Heaven, we have Bravo, Dolomite, Wishkey, and Archangel. And for Jaeger Bagels, bit of a changed lineup here. We have Pixie and Amethyst, who are the main members of the crew, but we also have two substitutes. We have Ghost and Pose. It seems like Archer has already bid adieu to the Left 4 Dead scene and has gone off to play Overwatch. And I think Sheep's just simply out of town and couldn't be here tonight.
Right, and it is worth mentioning that, lineup changes or no, it is Warriors of Heaven is 2-0 going into this game. Jaeger Bagels are 0-2, which means that Jaeger Bagels do not have a chance of making it to the knockout stage. They are already gone. But it is worth mentioning that if Warriors can win this match, they will be 3-0. That will put them at the top of the group stage, which would be very beneficial to them going into the knockout stage.
Absolutely, yes. So the bare minimum that Warriors Heaven really need is a draw, which is an extremely rare thing to see in Left 4 Dead. But anyway, the round has gone live. We are going to start here with the first attack of Boomer, Jockey, Charger, and Smoker before a pause by Bravo comes out.
Wouldn't be competitive Left 4 Dead 2 without a fair share of delays and pauses and crashes and whatnot, which we've already seen. Not sure why this pause is going up, but this does give us a bit of a breather just to note things. The importance of, there is no chance of Bravo's team being eliminated from this tournament. They've already secured their spot, but winning or losing this game will determine who they face in the knockout stage. And if they get the number one seed in their, of the group, then that means that their opponent that they'll face in the bracket will presumably be the weaker team. If they get second, that means I believe they'll be playing against Lemon Party, who didn't lose a single match in their group stage. Whereas if they don't, then they'll be playing a team that is presumably less skilled. So that would certainly be beneficial to them. Still waiting on whatever this the reason for this pause is, however.
Yeah, so this tournament so far, we're coming to the culmination and the conclusion of the group phase, and we've had only 2 teams out of the 16 teams so far have actually remained undefeated. And we're watching one of them in action right here, or we will do once the action resumes. But it's just been incredible. We've had most matches, and we've had a lot of surprises as well along the way. But most matches have been pretty close, and it's not been easy with the way things have gone on. But I think it's gone really well so far.
Right, looks like we are getting right back into things. Matches going live. We got a first hit ready for Jaeger Bagels, a Boomer, Jockey, Charger, and a Smoker. Pretty decent spawns, but this is a fairly open area as well. There's not many places to spawn other than these cliffs. Looks like the Smoker's going to looking for a spawn from the back. Boomer coming in from the right, gets popped, doesn't hit anything. That Smoker's going to drop down. Archangel already trying to snipe him, but not able to hit it. It's going to get a pull onto Rochelle. Archangel trying to clear, but the clear's going pretty slowly. A common's kind of harassing her right in behind her. Jockey and Charger still waiting to spawn. Looks like they're going to wait for the next hit. Not sure what the idea was with the Smoker and Boomer going in by themselves.
It looked to me like I couldn't see it properly. It may have been the case. I think the Charger was looking for a different spawn at the last second, tried joining up with the Smoker, but I think his spawn got blocked the last second, so he couldn't connect with the Smoker. But they have a Charger going up the front here, or at least pre-spawning above the tunnel with the Hunter as a companion. Boomer going in, getting popped, stumbling the Charger. We have a Jockey on the right as well, just at the exit of this tunnel. And I think the Warriors is just simply going to bait this hit out for its worth. The Charger does go and gets railed before he can complete the charge. Hunter tries going in, just gets shut down. Jockey lands briefly on Nick's head. A little bit of damage, but a very well taken attack there by Warriors of Heaven.
Definitely bits of miscommunication coming out from Team Jaeger Bagels. Of course, this is an add-on campaign, which means that, you know, the spawns are not quite so set in stone. There's, you know, a lot of improvisation going around. Sometimes people don't really know where or how to spawn. Regardless, the next hit is up. We've got a Charger, Boomer, Hunter, Smoker. Hunter is already pre-spawned in the back, not making any noise. Looks like they're going to try and hit them right now in this big open area. We've already got the Hunter flying around, moving in. Charger and Smoker spawning from the cliffs. Smoke goes out onto Bravo again, but gets immediately shoved and cleared. The survivors are trying to chip away at that Charger, but they're not able to hit him through that tree line.
Indeed, yeah. The SI being a little bit apprehensive there. We were looking for an opportunity to rain down on the survivors, but once they saw that an SI got shot down immediately, it's like the ones from above weren't so keen on going in. And that's something they need to get over. They just need to all go into once, regardless. Just commit, basically. Charger comes from the back, but misses completely. Smoker and Jockey try combining to tackle the shelf, but again, minimal damage on the board. And look at the damage on the board of Jaeger Bagels. Only 20 damage between the two of their players.
Which means that a good portion of the damage that on the survivors right now is purely due to friendly fire. As you mentioned, you know, you may be a little apprehensive. This may be an unfamiliar map, but you've just got to coordinate and, you know, hit together as a team. That's really more important than where you spawn. The tank is up now in the hands of Team Captain Pixie for Jaeger Bagels. It's a Hunter moving around in the back, Jockey and a Spitter. They're not the greatest of spawns, and this is a big open area. Looks like the survivors are going to hit it right here. Are we looking to hear a Jaeger Bagels war run?
Absolutely, I think we should roll this out.
Booking on me, I can't even.
They come to me. Can you two get a hit?
Alright. Ready, pose. Go.
I'm a reload. Reload.
When you guys are up, you guys can get another hit for me. I don't know. I honestly have no idea. Go.
Alright.
Actually, I'm trying to get an early pull for me. I'm just gonna commit. I'm committing.
And that was the tank in the hands of Pixie for Jaeger Bagels getting mowed down in this big train track area. Did get a few rocks and a few punches, but overall not a ton of damage. All the survivors are still in the green, and they've still got all 4 pills ready for themselves.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, Pixie's tank was just getting railed hardcore into that and backtracking through that tunnel. And there just wasn't much that she could do. She had to basically rely on the support to sort of time it right. Unfortunately, the Charger went completely wayward, wasn't going anywhere near any of the single survivors. And well, now they're up with the Witch, with a Spitter, Jockey, Hunter, and Charger as the hit for the SI. It looks like the Hunter's already pre-spawned behind. Oh, and a quick crown there by Bravo. Nicely done.
Those were some pretty dangerous spawns for the support of that Witch, but Bravo, of course, the team captain, certainly knows what he's doing. He was able to crown that Witch, no problem, despite that Charger spawning at the last second. Very nicely done. That's a big portion of damage evaded for Team Warriors of Heaven. Archangel is in the yellow, but they've still got 3 pills. It's not a huge deal, and since the tank has already been cleared, they don't really have any issue with, concern of her bleeding out. Regardless, they are going to be crossing this bridge. They've got a jockey spawn up, trying to hit onto Nick. It does manage to land, but gets cleared immediately. Looks like we've also got a charger looking for a spawn from behind, or perhaps, looks like they're moving in front. A lot of miscommunication coming up from Jaeger Bagels. Honestly, it just doesn't seem like they're all together right now. Honestly, it looks like the survivors are playing a game of campaign, not versus.
Indeed. And there's still like a horde behind them as well. They're just going to run into the safe room, and the SI have pretty much only got one hit remaining.
Boomer is going to spawn. He does manage to land on 2 survivors. Gets popped, the smoke coming in from the back, but doesn't land. And that's all she wrote. I think that's the last hit. But,
Never tried spin right into the safe room door! What's going on?
My
God.
Commentator's curse times 10. I said that was it, and we have a quad charge in spit. Where did the survivor's health go? It's gone. My God.
Things were looking really desperate for Jaeger Bagels. I mean, it looked like the survivor's just going to waltz into the safe room with 0 incaps, and then that happens.
I feel like I owe Team Warriors of Heaven an apology. I feel like I am almost 100% responsible for that. Amethyst saying, good tank. My goodness. Well, again, this is just kind of what you see in add-on campaigns like Carry It Off. People don't really... There's just a lot of, anything can happen. You can't really expect what's going to happen. And when things like that happen, the survivors were all at the safe room door. They're like, yeah, we've got this. And the charger came in from the back out of nowhere. No one was, watching for spawns back there, and it led to some massive, massive damage.
Admittedly, I haven't watched much of this campaign in terms of, tournament matches or scrims. I've never seen a charge quite in that spot, just right outside that safe room door.
Neither have I, and I think those were the only 2 spawns they had at the time, just the charger and the spitter, but they managed to get a ton of damage, so... I mean, that's sort of calling back to what you were saying, Dragon. When you spawn together, things tend to work out. We do have the first hit going, Smoker and Jockey going in, not able to land anything. The Charger's still walking in looking for, again, a last-minute Charger. He gets mowed down before he hits anything. Smoker gets the repull onto Ellis just for a second, but then gets cleared. Very minimal damage going out onto Jaeger Bagels. Amethyst is the only one who took any damage, and I think that was mostly friendly fire.
Reloading.
Well, I gotta give it to Warriors of Heaven. At least they're spawning all together in the first attack. But still, I mean, Jaeger Bagels dealt with it really well. Only 4 damage on the board for Archangel. And I think Amethyst was the only one who took damage from that.
I would definitely agree with that. We do have the next hit ready. Hunter, Boomer, Jockey, and Charger. The Hunter is already pre-spawned up on this ridge to the left of the survivors. Looks like the Charger's going to try and spawn with him, and the Boomer's looking for a spawn from the white band. He does spawn, but gets popped immediately. Jockey spawning in from the back. Hunter's making some noise. Looks like they're going to go in anyway, despite the lack of boom. Hunter lands onto Rochelle. The Charger does not land. She just barely manages to get out of there in time. Another hit taken extraordinarily well by Jaeger Bagels.
Indeed, I mean, they're holding their own in terms of, their survival performance so far. It's only been 2 attacks, but extremely minimal damage. And I think Bravos is trying to encourage some words out of Whisker's mouth there.
Apparently, Jaeger Bagels is not the only team that's having some communication problems. The next hit is ready. Boomer, Smoker, Hunter, Jockey. Looks like the majority of looking to spawn to the left of the survivor. The Boomer's already up. Goes, pops once again. Rochelle gets smoked. The Hunter goes in, gets a nice DP onto Nick. And the Jockey lands onto Coach just for a second, but gets cleared. Bit more damage going out, but so far pretty minimal. And this is all pre-tank. There aren't any bleeders. We may be seeing a similar tank situation as the last round.
I have to say, the difference so far in round 1 to me is I think that Warriors of Heaven just look a tad more convincing with their SI play and teamwork. But, I mean, there's only been 3 attacks so far, and we have to wait and see what this tank will do.
I'm reloading.
Absolutely. I think the majority of the damage will be having to come from that tank. The Witch is in a decent-ish spot, but Bravo showed how easy it can be to crown that tank. We do have the going at 22 and full and charge going. That is massive distance onto Ellis. He's very separated from his team. That charge is going to get
I think Pixie's going to get in-capped here.
That's probably an in-cap. I think you're right. And the Smoker is still hanging around outside. His pull is ready. Oh, but he does get sniped from that distance from the Uzis. Very impressive, but that is a full in-cap onto the team captain of Jaeger Bagel. She is going to be bleeding, and that is pre-tank, which means that that's, you know, a bit of a load taken off of this tank. He's going to have, you know, a bit more time to kill that will actually benefit his team rather than Pixie, who, you know, really had nothing to do before she went in.
Reloading.
Yeah, they got one bleeder, and well, you can easily say that Warriors had a much stronger advantage at this point, but then look how it ended right outside the safe room. So, things could still happen. The Charger does get Rochelle at the front. Spit lands, Jockey lands as well. They're all going on Rochelle. She's just getting gangbanged relentlessly. The Hunter changes target onto Amethyst.
Really concerning, you know, lack of coordination from Jaeger Bagels on the Survivor side. I guess Rochelle, you know, was the designated pusher in that area, but her teammates were way too far to cover her. The tank is now up in the hands of Dole. He's going to start moving it in, and I think the Survivors are looking to fight this, maybe not in the train yard area. It looks like they're trying to fight this now. I think we're going to kick this off to a Warriors war room right now.
Reloading. Shoot the top. You shoot the tank.
Reloading.
Almost dead.
Shoot the big guy. Pound me into the ground.
You're fine. Oh, this guy got big. You could block this guy or something.
Somebody want to lend me a hand
Just stay
here?
Stop that.
Reloading. Get up. Get up.
Help!
Just stay up there.
Hey, I need some help over here.
Can you boom the down guys?
Hey, over here! Help me out! I need some help! Help! Help!
You're at York?
I'm ready.
Fucking melee's too strong!
Nice job. Oh, wait, not that.
Oh, shit. Just get up. Get up.
I can walk this shit off. Thanks. I don't mean to be cursing myself. But if I know, you guys are gonna miss me. Reloading. Reloading.
You can like pull the one in the back. Should like hands down.
That was the tank in the hands of Dole. They've got the Survivors on their very last legs. Pixie, the team captain, is black and white. She's sitting on 1 damage. She just manages to clear herself from that smoker tongue. Very impressive. The tank is AI and appears to be stuck in a tree. Well, I guess that's one problem taken care of. However, 2 Survivors are now down. I think the one holding the deagle is not down, however. We do have a jockey spawning in from the top. I'm not sure where he thinks he's going. But at this point, it's just a matter of how far can Jaeger Bagels make it, just limping their way through this map. They do still have to deal with the Witch, and the Infected already got a Boomer, Jockey, Charger, and one last spawn waiting in the wings. Boomer's going to go in. He's not booming. Not sure what he's doing anymore. Gets popped immediately. Maybe Archangel was stuck. We do have a pause going out.
Crashed, that's why.
Unfortunate. Well, this does give us a bit of a breather. As we saw, the Survivors just got absolutely destroyed by that tank. Coach, I think Ghost, was in-capped immediately off a log. You know, the Charger went in and landed. The Smoker also was able to pull the other Survivors. And, I mean, this is unfortunately all a result, I think, of the fact that Pixie was bleeding. The Survivors weren't able to bully that tank. They weren't able to pull it. And the Choggy does get the aggro onto Rochelle, in-capping her. I think Pose might be dead. No, they do manage to kill the Witch. They're going to pick her up, but Pixie is dead, however.
And no, I think
there is
Pose just tried walking around the Witch without a shotgun.
Desperate times call for desperate measures. The survivors are still pushing through this, bless their hearts. They are playing purely for pride's sake, as I mentioned. It's not as though they actually have a chance of making the tournament. They just want to get home, with at least one win on their record. The Boomer gets a double boom, going to push into Rochelle's face. That's probably going to be an in-cap. She's stuck in spit, and she is dead. And that is it for map 1. Jaeger Bagels wiping before making it to the safe one. Very unfortunate. As I mentioned before, this is a Haunted Forest, I believe, is a 4-map campaign, I believe.
That's right. It's 4.
Yes, it is a 4-map campaign, which means that, wiping on the first map is all the worse for your team because there's just not as many opportunities for a turnaround or for you to make, a big lead by then wiping the enemy team. But, the night is still young. I do hope that Jaeger Bagels can make at least one win before they leave this tournament.
It would be nice if they got a win, because, it wouldn't be undeserving of them to have one. If you think about it, they had a pretty close game with Coach Day's Academy and Dark Carnival in the very first round, and that was a real seesaw ding-dong battle back and forth, that was. And it didn't end up being a comeback victory for Coach Day's Academy.
Absolutely. This tournament, as you mentioned, many of the matches have been extremely close. And I think that's, partly a result of the fact that's the way this tournament is formatted. We do have team captains who are normally very experienced players like Bravo and Dusty and Rails, but they also have to, it's sort of a draft style where they have to pick players who may not have that much tournament experience. So there's a lot of diversity in skill level here, and the teams are mostly balanced, which fortunately we have seen. And I think
Archangel getting back in touch with his roots. Good man.
We do have the first hit ready. It is a Jockey, Spitter, Charger, and Smoker. Pretty decent hit for this ladder. And the survivors are going to have to take this very carefully. We've got Rochelle already chipping that Jockey with 2 shotgun blasts. Not very nice job posting on ladder. Yes, they are, and we're going to have to see. The Jockey's still got a pretty decent amount of HP, actually. He's still at about 80%. But they've got to be careful here. I think their main concern is some sort of spit. The Charger is going to go in, going to try and get some punches, but he just gets chipped in return. Yuma does allow the survivors to shoot on the ladders, which means that it's much more dangerous. The spit goes in, but it lands on the bottom floor. So that's a ton of damage evaded for Warriors of Heaven.
And somehow Nick and Ellis are able to avoid that spit. I was actually thinking it was going to clip and affect them, but we're fortunate enough to avoid that.
Yeah, very strange. There were I think 3 survivors on the ladder, but none of them body blocked the spit, so it just landed right below them, and they just climbed on up. We do have a single boom going out onto Rochelle. It's going to delay them just a bit. The Charger's going to go in, but doesn't hit anything. Coach gets pulled. The Jockey pulled Rochelle and dragging her back. No one is clearing her.
Well, those pews, I think, they kind of broke the fall a tiny bit. They probably had a little bit more fall damage on Rochelle if the Jockey... But actually, it would have been hard to aim that, but it's still really good damage. That separation was great. And it slowed Warriors down just a little bit. And there is a witch up there, too.
This is a decent-ish spot. She's right past the tunnel, similar to the first witch, but I think Bravo may have a harder time crowning this one. Double boom going out. Bravo's going to aggro that witch from the back and is going to look for that. She's caught on a corner. What is she? My goodness. What even? This witch doesn't matter. The spit goes down. Nick gets pulled by a Smoker, and the Charger's going to charge Coach past the tunnel.
She's trying to climb the archway.
She's stuck on the archway. She is standing there. My goodness. They're just going to chip her down with Uzis. No need to even crown that witch. The witch just baited her own team. That is really unfortunate. I say this every game because, frankly, it's true. Every single game I cast, the witch seems to do something absolutely ridiculous. And it looks like it was Jaeger Bagel's turn to have their witch do something stupid. Valve, Xbye says. Yup, pretty much. This is a 9-year-old game. The pathfinding AI is notoriously terrible. Regardless, we do have the Jaeger Bagels tank up in the hands of Amethyst, but they are going to send the hit in just before. Spit going down, but doesn't land. A Hunter does land onto Nick just for a second. It'll be interesting to see if they take the tank all the way from the back to the church. Boomer trying to get a max distance boom, but doesn't hit anything. That was a real Hail Mary play. Looks like they're not taking it to the church. They're going to take it back in this big open field under this tree. Be interesting to see how this goes for Warriors Recovery. They did handle the first tank quite beautifully.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that they're not pulling back, because that's more or less something you'd consider doing if you still got the health bonus attack. But they have got one person bleeding at least, and someone else on moderate health. The tank is pushing him now. I think it's a little bit later sensitive to Rom, so we'll keep it here. The tank's just getting railed. Does get a corner onto Ellis, who's on top of the push. The tank was too close enough. There's a Charger and Jockey going on in the meantime, and double cap at the back. Charger gets cleared. Jockey's going to get cleared just now, but 2 in-caps. Amethyst has still got 2.4k HP.
She's getting chipped down a lot, however, she does manage to in-cap Ellis with a rock out of nowhere. No skeets going on. We've got a smoker in the back and a full push. That's a wipe for Jaeger Bagel. Looks like Amethyst is going to take that one for herself. She wants the in-cap. She's going to get it. Really impressive rally by Team Jaeger Bagels. I mean, I think hats off to, I believe Pixie was that charger. He managed to land a double charge from the back while the tank was punching one of their other teammates. That was sort of like a pseudo tri-cap going there. Poe saying, guys, please clear every comment.
Yeah, I'm not sure why exactly the clearing of that double cap was a little bit tardy, but I think only one survivor could have dealt with that, whilst the other one was being punched around by the tank. So as you were saying, it was something of a pseudo tri-cap, but still, I mean, should have had their wits about them a little bit more if they were going to fight in that area and be as aggressive as they were.
Yeah, as you mentioned, they did have a bleeding survivor, which means that they weren't able to bully that tank quite as much. I'm being told that Amethyst should be called Lame Fist, or however I'm meant to pronounce that. Lame Athist. All right, thank you. I will make that note of that. We do have the smoker spawning for this first ladder hit. Warriors was able to get past without taking any spitter damage, but they are aware that the spitter is there because they were infected first, so it'll be interesting to see how they handle this hit. Hopefully the spit won't land on the bottom floor. The Charger and Smoker both hit Nick. Oh, Godframes bit. Godframes did help him just a bit, but that is a decent amount of damage going out onto Lamethus and Pose. They're going to push on through this church now.
It could have been so much more if all the cappers didn't unanimously decide to gangbang the shit out of Nick. But I'm guessing he was the easiest target there, so they just all thought coincidentally, hey, I'm gonna go for him.
We do have a boomer spawning from under the stairs from the survivors. Actually identical to what Warriors, Jaeger Bagels did when they were infected. The Charger does go in onto Coach, into Spit. That's going to be a nice amount of damage. And a Shocky hitting Rochelle from the back. Identical, however, no fall damage is going to hit Pose. Ghost is down to, I believe, 40 HP. Nice amounts of damage onto Pose and Lamethus. I think Jaeger Bagels is taking just a bit more, but they do have to do with this Witch and Tank. If they can clear both without taking any really unnecessary incaps, they'll be in a great position. The Witch is aggro, and she got stuck in the same spot. Oh my goodness! My god, this game continues to troll. The Witch got cornered in the same spot as the last Witch. Rochelle went up for the easy crown, or seemingly easy crown, and got in caps for it. Really unfortunate. The boom is going to go in, going to capitalize on that. Pose is the only one boomed. And there is a Hunter and a Charger waiting, but looks like they're going to wait for their spawns. The Spitter is also ready. Hunter's going to go in, going to land onto Ellis. Bit of damage is going to get cleared. The Charger's now going to go in. Looks like he's going to go onto Ellis as well. Going to go past the Spit, I think. It's still going to be decent damage. The survivors are in bad shape right now. They've already got a bleeder and a yellow. 3 pills for them, but that means that they're not going to have any time to run this tank back or chip him early. This is a really dangerous situation for Warriors. They do have the opportunity to keep this game in their favor, but only if this tank wipes. The tank is now in the hands of Archangel. He's going to go right in. Rochelle already pushing in his face, getting some shotgun blast. There's a ton of common, and it is going to let a rock onto Rochelle for trying to get that early chip, getting a little too greedy. Boomer spawn from the back. Single boom onto Nick. There's no time for a war room right now. Another rock goes out that gets skeeted. Luckily, he is going to land a punch onto Nick, who bounces off of the tree, I believe?
Survivors are really split up at the moment, and Archangel's barely taking any chip and getting that in-cap on Nick. And I think those commons are going to... Well, actually, no. Horse stopped. Commons won't kill them off. but now there is a hunter at the back. He's quickly cleared, but Coach has been cornered by the smoker as well as the tank. And he's still got 2k HP left. He catches up to Ellis. This is looking increasingly likely another wipe that's coming out here.
The hunter does land onto Ellis. That's an in-cap. Rochelle is the last survivor left standing. She's going to try and backwards run away from this tank, but the smoker is going to pull her. Looks like that is it for Team Jaeger Bagels. Warriors of Heaven able to hold on to their lead, which I think is about 500 points now or so. Very nicely done. It's a real heartbreaker, but there are still 2 maps left to go, and as we've seen, we can see some really silly things happen. You know, which in-caps out of nowhere, random tank wipes. The game is still young, and Jaeger Bagels is certainly still in this.
I'd say Jaeger Bagel's biggest error in that is what Pose feared the most and actually asked his team to deal with was the commons. Like, especially the lingering commons in that area. Because he went to push the tank pretty hard as soon as he spawned, but he didn't really have the backing support of the other 3 survivors. And when he tried running back, there were just all those lingering commons still around.
Absolutely. I think, you know, when you're in a situation like that, when the enemy team just wiped and you think you're in a great position to take the lead, you can get a little carried away with yourself. And Pose, you know, sort of forgetting his own advice, he decided, I'm going to push this tank, I'm going to go and, you know, shoot him in the face early. We want to kill this tank and then, you know, run away with this lead, and he paid dearly for it. We now have the first hit on map 3. Hunter, Spitter, Boomer for Jaeger Bagels. Pretty decent spawns. The Boomer's going to spawn in, going to get a single boom onto Rochelle. Both Hunters going in, but the Survivors are just going to run it right back into the station. However, one Hunter does land onto Nick just for a second. The Spit, however, misses. So that's going to be very minimal damage.
Yep. 1 damage bounce. That's all we're going to get out of the first attack here from Jaeger Bagels. I can already hear the Witch, though.
Yes, I hear her as well. The Witch is...
Oh, she's behind the door. The end of the corridor. Yeah.
Oh, very interesting.
Could be a nasty surprise here, except the tank is spawned.
My goodness, this game does not give me any time to think right now. The tank is up in the hands of Pose 14 Jaeger Bagels. There is a charge going into a push all the way forward. What in the hell is that?
What the hell?
Aggro that Witch. She's aggroed onto the other team. Look at
What's going on?
Rochelle is still not cleared. The tank is going in. This should be an easy wipe for him. He's gonna punch Nick once, twice, 3 times, and he's out of there. One more.
Dead.
That's the cap. Rochelle is dead.
Pose has still got over 5k HP. He can finish it.
We've already got a smoker looking for a pull onto Ellis. He's all alone in a room, but he does have an axe. He is going to manage to shove the smoker, but he's trapped in this room. That should be an in-cap. Rochelle is still got that jockey on him, and that's a wipe for Warriors of Heaven. That was a different jockey? Oh my god.
Yeah, that was something of a moonwalking jockey right there, and it worked. That's what triggered the entire wipe. I was really relishing the idea of actually going to the Warriors War and halfway through that just to hear their reaction.
Oh, that would have been priceless. Unfortunately, I was just too caught up in the action. Posting 2 tanks, guys. That is true, and they do have a significant advantage now. I mean, Jaeger Bagels, if the comeback is going to be for you, it's going to have to be on here. This is a golden opportunity that the Survivors didn't even make it, I think, like 30% through the map. So this is a prime opportunity for you to take the lead and probably secure the win, because if they make the safe room on this map with some nice health bonus, I mean, that would put them in a golden position for this finale. So I'm very excited now. This game has been super entertaining already.
Yes, absolutely. I just hope that Jaeger Bagels can just find a little bit more solidarity in their survivor play, because it has been lacking, admittedly. They haven't got their stuff together in that regard, but I'm hoping they can change that around here, because that will make it a very close game going into the finale. And as you said, someone mentioned in the chat, there are 2 tanks to come in this map. So there is an early one that happens before the Witch, and there's going to be the one when they play a little busy on the piano.
Absolutely. And as I was mentioning from the last map, Jaeger Bagels, they need to improve their survivor play. They need to keep it cool. You know, don't get too excited, because that Witch is in a pretty bad spot. And as Pose reminded his teammates just now, there are 2 tanks that they have to deal with. This early one, and then the one that spawns in the piano room. We are live now. The first hit identical to the last round. Hunter, Hunter, Boomer, Spitter. Not great spawns, but Warriors was able to avoid most of the damage by just ducking back into the safe room. They, Jaeger Bagels needs to be aware that Warriors knows that. So Warriors may be trying to mix it up just a bit. Both Hunters are pre-spawned now. Ellis is taking a peek outside. The boom is going to go in. One Hunter lands onto Ellis, gets cleared. There is some spit going down onto him, however. So it's going to be just a tiny bit of damage more than what Jaeger Bagels was able to do.
Man, I hope we don't see a tank in a tuxedo.
I'm wondering if, actually no, scrap that, it's too early now. I was wondering if Pose is going to rush ahead and try and crown the Witch. It appears not.
I think he's learned his lesson.
Tank is in the hands of Bravo. I think we should definitely send this over to an infected war.
Absolutely. This is the team captain. He's got a lot of work here to do.
Just sack this boom or what? Sure. I almost got it.
Call us in when you went, Bravo.
Yeah, so just support off of a split. I can do it. I got you. Wait.
I am.
Alright, let's hop out. 3, 2, 1. Now hop out. Oh shit, that's not... Damn, could've landed more.
Ah! I missed that! I got it! Hey, keep shooting! Get up!
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. That was a tank from Bravo, team captain of Warriors of Heaven, getting 2 incaps and a sneaky bunch onto Amethyst at the end there, who got a little bit too close to comfort. I didn't think it was going to be a wipe because there was no boomer there. There was a separation tri-cap, and some of them did land, but it wasn't enough. However, there is the Witch up ahead, and there is a Hunter respawn right next to her. And she does a curve and gets Pose down! Sorry, that's not Pose, that's Go.
Another unfortunate incap from the Witch for Jaeger Bagels. They're in bad shape. I have a very hard time seeing them making it past the second tank. But, every point is going to count. You've got to make as much distance as you can. They've got 1 pill left for 3 bleeding survivors. Lameth is holding on to the majority of their health bonus. They're going to push on forward through this piano room, activate the event. And, the traditional strat here is to run it all the way back to the safe room and fight the second tank there, but I don't believe the survivors have time for that. No, they're going for it. They're going to run all the way back, although Rochelle is just a teeny bit separated. We've got our second tank for Warriors of Heaven in the hands of Whiskey. Charger going in from the back. Jockey and Spit as well, going to delay them. Jockey's still alive, but that tank now has them in this curved hallway. This is a really nasty place to fight a tank.
Do you want to set this over to a survival war for a change, since it's the same tank?
Absolutely, let's do it.
I'll walk this off.
I'm gonna get ammo really, really fast.
Everyone shoot the tank! Reloading.
Committing.
Reloading.
Reloading. Shoot it!
Okay, that's better.
Watch out, Jockey, Pixie.
Got
Good
it.
tank. I'm dead.
This tank is dead. Good
Go.
job.
That was the second Warriors of Heaven tank in the hands of Wishki. She was able to kill Ghost. The survivors are now down to 3, and Pixie and Pose are extremely low. They're going to be... wait. No, Pixie is still fast, but Pose is low. And they do have a single boom going out onto Pixie. At this point, I find it very unlikely that they're going to make it to the safe room, but every point is still going to count. You need to get as much distance points as you can, because the finale for Haunted Forest is my goodness, it's such a shit show. I mean, there are so many opportunities for survivors to die, so many death charges and death smokes. So you need every point you can get going into that finale if you want to secure a lead and keep it.
It's like the indoor version of the parish finale, but so much worse.
Yes,
I know,
that's exactly right.
Again. Oh, he gets pounced his spit at the back. I think Coach is going to go down, and yes, he does. Picks it down and end cap.
Lamethus just barely avoids getting in-capped in that spit himself. He does manage to get out of there at the last second. The Smoker's going to jump in looking for a scratch, but he does get shot out of the air by Pose. The survivors are on their last legs once again, just limping through this map. We're going to see how far they manage to get. The rest of this map is mostly enclosed rooms and long corridors, which means that just about any decent hit will wipe them. They now have a Jockey Hunter Boomer. The Hunter's going to go get a cheeky little scratch and in-cap Ellis. The rest of the infected are waiting in the wings. That Boomer is pre-spawned. Going to look for, I guess, boom as soon as Coach decides to poke his head out. He does get it. Double boom onto Ellis and Coach. Nick is in the back, but he's also dangerously low. At this point, it's going to be extremely hard to get Ellis up. The Hunter does go in on the Coach, gets cleared. Nick is down. Joel saying I'm dead, huh? But that doesn't matter. The survivors have now wiped. It's not the big turnaround that Jaeger Bagels needed. They're still down about 400 points going into the finale.
What we have to bear in mind as well is that actually it's a lot worse for Jaeger Bagels than the in-game score suggests, because of course they're actually carrying a penalty for the substitutions they had to make.
That's actually a very good point. I believe the penalty for substitutions is 300 points, I believe.
Something like that, yeah. So in essence, I think Warriors of Heaven are something more like 700, maybe even 1,000 points ahead when you take into account those penalties and what they'll do to the final score.
Right, and as we mentioned before, this Horde event, as Dragon so eloquently put, it's basically the Parish finale just indoors because, you know, despite the fact that you're not on a bridge, there's still plenty of opportunities for you to go, you know, plummeting to your death. There are lots of holes in this tunnel, lots of opportunities for death charges, death smokes, death jockeys, all manner of dead survivors we can see on this finale map. Warriors of Heaven are going to be taking it first as they are in the lead. First hit is a Boomer, Smoker, and a Hunter. Not great spawns for an indoor area like this, but the Boomer is going to go ahead and spawn anyway. It's going to get a single boom on the Coach. Smoker is spawning in front of all places. Looks like the survivors are just going to wait out this Horde before dealing with anything. The Smoker does get a pull, the Boomer gets a proxy onto two survivors. Two Hunters land in the back onto Nick and Ellis, but they do get cleared quite quickly. Pretty minimal damage going up, but this Horde is going to, you know, nag the survivors just a bit before they start this finale.
Yeah, very minimal damage. Not much really happened in that first attack of worthy note, but it's only the beginning. It's really when they open this gate and then they proceed through that things start to get really dangerous for the survivors here.
Absolutely. The survivors are going to go ahead and I believe they're going to start this finale. They are. The gate goes extremely quickly. Posting wait for the Horde. That would certainly be my call. The infected now have a Spitter, Hunter, Boomer, and a Jockey. Looks like the Boomer's going to go ahead and spawn.
Oh, I think Pixie misunderstood what Pose was saying. I think Pose was saying attack where his Hunter is, and then Pixie decides to just boom from completely the wrong end.
This is the kind of miscommunication that we were talking about. I'm not sure why the communication is going through text, but the survivors are going to push on through here. Looks like the infected are going to wait for the rest of their team. Spitter, Hunter, and Jockey's not great spawns, but they now have a Smoker. That's pretty good. I believe there is a Horde here for an opportunity for some kind of death. Smoker's going to go in onto Nick, but gets pulled. Ellis gets hit by a Jockey, and nice cover from the Hunter into Spit. That's going to be a great, nice amount of damage on the Warriors.
It doesn't look like a huge amount, but it was a good spread of damage. That Jockey did get M2s, and then somehow still landed on Ellis's head, and then the Hunter just timed that beautifully with the pounce to stop Rochelle from getting the clear, as she was closest to Ellis at the time.
Survivors are going to make their way up this first ladder and through the tunnel. There are some added walls here to prevent some sort of death charges, but this area is still extremely dangerous. And the tank is at 50%. I believe it's going to be just past this first like center divider of the tunnel, or however you want to call it. The boomer is going to get a single boom onto Ellis. Got a hunter spawned in the back. Charger going in from the front. Hunter lands onto Nick just for a second. Ellis gets pulled. He's going to get cleared at the last second. And that Charger, I have no idea what that Charger is doing.
I think Charger needs to block a little bit more on this parkour because he's struggling to get over the rock and fall. Okay, I'll just use the ladder there.
I think that rock, it looks like you can walk, past it, but you actually can't. It's really just a wall. The survivors are making pretty decent progress. They did find an extra set of pills for Archangel, who went ahead and took those. Infected now have a Jockey Spitter, Boomer, and a Charger. Those are pretty decent spawns for another, I believe, ladder choke. The Boomer's going to get a nice 2-3 boom on the survivors in the back. Charger is going to come in from the front. Jockey and Spitter are also ready to spawn. Charger goes in, lands on the Coach. The Spit goes down. The Jockey's jumping around, but does get emptied and shut down. Still good damage onto Whiskey right there.
Absolutely, even with a common trying to give her a backer at the same time. I'm surprised you didn't go into lower movement speed range, below 40 HP, but I'm sure she'll happily accept being above that range. The smoker at the front lands onto... who is that? Is that Bravo? Yeah, Bravo being caught out by the smoker there.
Bravo does have a habit of pushing well past his team just to, I suppose, try and block some spawns, but he did pay for it right there by getting smoked. When you are the best player on your team, it can be tempting for you to be pushing all the time, but you got to remember you need to stay with your team.
Indeed, and actually looking at the damage the SI put in, I mean, there haven't been any incaps, but there's still been a nice spread of damage across the board on all the survivors. And I think Bravo wants to... Looks like he wants to make the call, maybe to go back to the... Yeah, he wants to go across the charge.
We do have a great double charge going on.
Did not have the range to meet up with that Charger, unfortunately.
But they did separate Coach from his team.
In-cap.
Great amount of damage. That's the in-cap pre-tank that Jaeger Bagels was looking for. As Dragon was just about to mention just before that Charger went in, there is a very unfortunate, spot where you can camp this tank. You go up here and you spawn it, and then you move back and walk across this rock wall that Bravo was on. You can camp the tank there, and unfortunately for the tank, there's no way for him to get to the survivors of them to follow the same path. But instead, it seems Bravo's going to go ahead and get some early chip in there. There's a log right behind him that this tank can use. This tank is getting bullied really badly. Ghost is trying to hide behind these pillars, but there's 3 Uzis and a Chrome Shotgun he's got to deal with. That's a ton of chip damage. He's down to 88%. Looks like now the survivors are going to run it back just a little bit. Charger spawning in from behind. It manages to land onto Coach. He's got the tank getting chipped down by a ton, but he doesn't have to get another punch onto Coach. That's an in-cap on the Coach. He's going to keep on moving in. Ellis is separated from his team right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ghost is taking too much damage here. Hunter does land at the front. Gonna get clear. There's a Deagle providing assistance as well. It's gonna be an easy clear. And Ghost, his last punch there wasn't close enough.
That was a really ballsy play by Warriors of Heaven. I would not have fought that tank there with that log sitting right behind them. But obviously, Bravo's instincts are better than mine. He knew that, when we've got 3 Uzis, that tank is gonna back off. He's not gonna try and push us. And they did manage to clear that tank with not a ton of damage going on. Whiskey and Archangel are both fully bleeding, but they've got 2 pills for them, and they're very near the finale. They've got a ton of hordes to deal with. We've got a Jockey looking to spawn and a Smoker pull from the back, but does get cleared. Spitter is also looking for a spawn right now. Jaeger Bagels' spawns are badly staggered, and they need to wipe this team right now.
In terms of final score, what it means for the group phase, especially for Group B, I think that's a foregone conclusion already. But at least Jaeger Bagels could do something here to make it a little more interesting in terms of the final result. The Charger charged the top of the step and got blocked by it.
Really unfortunate. We do have another tank spawning for Lamethist, apparently. He's going to spawn behind the hedges. I don't think he's anywhere near the survivors. He's not even going to get to damage with that. No, he does not. The Warriors go ahead and jump on that boat. Bravo and Dole have, I believe, just about 70 points worth of health bonus between them. pretty decent for this finale, especially given how many in-caps they had to take.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, their final score is going to be 2,550 points, which is not the highest score we've seen, and my spec camera angle is sideways.
As is mine. I also am unable to make sure what's going on. I think I'm just going to rejoin this game.
No, I just re-spectate. It's fine.
All right. Never mind. We are okay. That was very interesting. As I mentioned before, there is a very cheap spot for you to camp that first tank. Stop calling him Lamethist. I apologize. An anonymous person who will not be named requested that I call him that, and he may or may not have been a tournament admin. I may or may not have felt pressured. I'm not going to say any more than that. Please don't hate me, Lamethist. I was coerced.
I don't think he or she's going to care if you're coerced. Attack is going in though. We've got a hunter coming at the back. A smoker spawning in the safe room. Where did that smoker come from? Did he spill in the fireplace or?
I have no clue. I did see the tongue go through a wall or something. This game has just been full of surprises right now. The survivors do shut that hit down. Ghost and Amethyst taking just a tiny bit of damage. They're going to go ahead and spawn this event. We didn't see any crazy death charges or whatever during this finale, but Warriors of Heaven, as you mentioned, they do seem to be the more coordinated team. We might be able to see a really crazy play like that go up. The hit is going in, however, Hunter and Smoker both land. The Hunter did land in Spit. That's going to be a nice amount of damage onto Pose. He's going to walk out of that Spit. Just teensy bits of damage, but, you know, every hit counts pre-tank on this map.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, anything you can do as SI before the tank up is always a big help, no matter what map this is. But particularly this one, it is something of a running endurance map for the survivors. But I mean, the best course of action really is, unless you have stacks of bonus still on you when the tank spawns, it just seems like a better option to just be aggressive and just pressure the tank and just harass it.
Boomer gets popped immediately. The Hunter does land onto Rochelle. Jockey lands onto Nick, and Ellis gets charged all the way to the front. That's a nice amount of separation, and 2 pounds. Pose is now, I think, down to 40 HP. Really great damage, really great coordination from Warriors of Heaven. This is exactly what we were talking about, that we've seen all game, really. Warriors of Heaven, their SI play is just a bit, you know, more put together. They manage to get those separations much more often than Jaeger Bagels does.
Indeed. And I have no doubt that Bravo is probably going to be voted MVP after this game. So we have him tied with Dusty, I believe, for MVP votes. But Boomer does land for a double boom. At the front, we've got a Smoker pulling Alphys through the Spit. And I think the rest of the support got shut down. I think it was the worst. I think it was a Joker, wasn't it?
I believe it was. But these hordes are also doing a lot of work for Warriors of Heaven. Amethyst and Pose are now in the yellow. They've still got 4 pills, but looks like they're going to hold on to those. They definitely want to keep those for this tank fight. Amethyst is going to pop those pills. There is the extra set that Archangel found last round. The next hit is now ready. Spitter Charger, Jockey, Hunter. Another opportunity for some big damage here. Warriors of Heaven have gotten, I think, a bit luckier with their spawns, but there really is nothing better than just good team play, which we're seeing. Hunter jumping around. Jockey in the back. Coach is going to get dragged backwards. There's no one there to clear him. Rochelle chasing after him. Does manage to get the clear, but now Ellis is incapped in the front.
Yeah, at this rate, they got no choice but to be aggressive against the tank. I mean, that's not really health you can take from miles back and preserve with no extra cost.
Reloading!
Absolutely. That spot to camp the tank is, you know, ideal. There's no way for the tank to reach you there without taking a ton of chip, but it does take a while to get there. And at the rate that they're bleeding, they're not going to be able to do it. The next hit is ready. Charger, Hunter, Boomer, Smoker. We've already got a Hunter pre-spawn looking to jump in from the other side. This Hunter, the Boomer's looking to boom from below, but he misses. However, the survivors aren't able to pop him. The Charger comes in from behind, but gets cleared. Smoker pulls Rochelle just for a second, also gets cleared. That's a bit of a saving grace for the survivors. They were able to shut that hit down for the most part.
Yes, and they're still somewhat concerned about the Horde plus the Smoker on the other side. I'm not sure why that and all that together is slowing them down, but they have got spare pills.
There's actually 2 spare pills, but they missed one of them. That's really unfortunate. I think Ellis is trying to get it, but can't reach it just by jumping. Smoker gets a pull on him just for a second, but gets cleared. You need those extra pills. Come on there. Pose does manage to grab it. Very nicely done. We do have the tank for Warriors of Heaven in the hands of Wishki once again. Looks like she's going to go right in on that. She's got 2 logs to work with, I believe.
Yeah, we should probably take this to Infected Worm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's hittable, but it doesn't in-cap, it just does 24.
You don't in-cap.
I do. Nice.
Don't shoot each other.
Ignore the hittable now, just roll in.
Focus careful. Take it in there.
Just try to knock him off the top.
Reloading.
Here you go. Get this guy down. Oh, you have a ladder. I wasted
Time your
my
punches.
smoke.
Time your punches. Time your punches. One more. Alright, knock him off the top. We'll go for the two other ones. Let's help him. Right.
Guys.
Yeah, go now. Go Hunter. Go. Nice, nice. He's up again. Just you can't hit him. Yep. Nice. Nice. Alright, just stay alive. Throw a rock. Close. Just keep him back there. You're doing good.
Reloading here.
Nice try.
Cricket bat here.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. That was a tank in the hands of Wishki, and it looked as though she could have got the wipe, but she sustained a lot of chip towards the end and didn't really have many options regards to the 3 survivors still on their
Forgive
team.
me, okay? I reckon if this keeps up,
Yes, unfortunately for Wishki, when they punched Pixie, she went like up and on top of a rock wall. That was a really nice bit of luck for her because she was able to pop those pills and get back into the tank fight. It was very nearly a wipe, as Dragon mentioned, but the survivors have survived. They're going to push on through. I believe they still have a chance of making this boat, but there's a ton of horde they have to deal with. And as we mentioned, these specials have been doing a really great job of separating these survivors and getting a ton of damage. They've got to tighten this formation up just a bit. I mean, once you've got survivors already slow like this, you can't afford to be separated by even, you know, these lampposts or little divots in the bridge here.
Absolutely. I don't actually see them reaching the boat on the health they've got. It's quite a brutal last section, this bit, with all the comms coming into your head-on.
You do have a jockey landing onto Rochelle, getting a bit of damage. Pulls going out. That Smoker is still alive. He's gonna, you know, get lots of free pulls from the back because, as you mentioned, with the amount of commons going out, the survivors just don't have a lot of time to chase him down or even snipe him when he's looking for those pulls. Dole's gonna go ahead and despawn. They've also got a boomer waiting in the wings. Luckily for the survivors, the specials are also fairly staggered because these spawns are coming in very slow. We now have the second tank, 4 warriors ready to spawn in. Spit and Boom go down but don't land on anything. However, 2 survivors are separated in the back and they're slow. I don't believe they're going to be able to outrun Dole, who's in the hands of the second tank. And we have a charger ready to spawn.
Tank is actually going to cut off Rochelle. Dole's just going straight in.
Apparently you can go onto the boat. Just a punch. The very last second. The GG's going out. Warriors of Heaven have secured their 3rd win. That makes them the only other team next to, I believe, Lemon Party that survived the group stage without taking a single loss. This puts them in a great position for the knockout stage, as I mentioned before, because the team that they will be playing against in the knockout stage, I believe they'll be playing against
On Dead
Pink Slip. Yes. They'll be playing against Pink Slip, who did manage to take a loss. So presumably the weaker team. This puts them in a great position. My hat's off to both teams. Jaeger Bagels didn't have to play this match, but they decided to anyway. And they did provide a lot of entertainment despite not getting the win.
Yeah, I mean, after the match last Monday between Bravo, Tetris, and Beach Please, we already knew who the final 8 teams for the knockout stage were going to be. We just didn't know in which order they were going to fight each other in the quarterfinals. And now, after this match, we know for certain. So, as we already mentioned, Warriors of Heaven will play Pink Slip on Dead Air. And that means as well that Coach Day's Academy will be facing Lemon Party. That's a Dusty versus Asian contest there on Dead Center.
Ooh.
So, yeah. I mean, every single match is going to be interesting to see. That one in particular could be fascinating.
Absolutely. Speaking of the future matches, I believe the first knockout tournaments, the first match of the quarterfinals will be this Friday, July 6th at 10 p.m. Lovebone versus Team Thinking. I don't believe it's on the Mavor website, but it has been confirmed. And, you can watch it then. I've also should remind everyone to go onto the Mavor website, mavor.com/vote MVP. You can vote for whichever player you thought was the star of the show. As Dragon mentioned, if you vote for Bravo, I believe that would tie it up with Bravo and Dusty having the most MVP votes so far in this tournament.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, there have been questionable MVP awards, I guess. It's really in the hands of the viewers, isn't it? But there's an extra $50 on at stake there for whoever gets the most MVP votes by the end of the tournament. So, just make sure the votes go to those who deserve it, I guess.
Yes, apparently there are two types of MVP votes. Votes for, whichever player you thought was the most skillful and whichever you thought trolled the hardest. Regardless, this was the final game match of the group stage of this tournament. I had a very fun time casting it. I hope you all had a fun time watching it.
Yeah, it's certainly a pleasure casting alongside you, Hollywood. It's the first time. I want to say thanks to you and thanks to Xbye for streaming. Thanks to the viewers for tuning in and showing their support. Thanks to Starpoint or the Owl for helping provide this sort of tournament and for making it what he has made it. And basically, just stay tuned now for the knockout stage. We're finally into the second and final phase at last. And on that note, I guess it's time to say thank you, Gigi, and good night, everyone.